Okay, so it's a tricky one. What live streaming software should you use? There's loads of softwares out there that you can think about using, but which one is going to be right for you? In this short video, I'm going to answer that question. I've already covered which platform you should be looking at when I was talking about my last video about live streaming. We've talked a lot about gear, which is okay. Everybody needs to set up the gear, but the software you use, what I mean by the software is the actual program. So if you're familiar with live streaming, it depends on what level you are in your journey. But if you're live streaming, you need some type of software to be able to live stream. You could use this YouTube Studio for live streaming. It's perfectly fine. You can select a camera source and then it allows you to record your video live. So you can actually go out live to YouTube. But what about if you want to get a bit fancy, if you want to add on visual effects, if you want to get like a different level. So what I'll do is I'll break this down into a few segments. I'll call it basic for if you're just live streaming with like a standard setup with one camera. I'll go to like a medium setup where if you're doing something like teaching or something creative, you want to have maybe 2 camera angles. And then I'll do like an intense gamer one whereby you want to basically stream at 60 frames a second and have a really high demanding game being live streamed. So that's what I'll cover in this video now. I'll break it into sections to make it easier for you. I'll put links to the chapters, check that out. So the first one we'll look at is if you're a basic live streamer. What do we mean by basic live streamer? You want to basically talk to your camera, you want to make a live stream, you want to go live for say an hour. What would be a good option for you? Firstly, think about what computer you currently have. If you have a standard laptop or a standard computer that isn't too geared towards gaming or high performance video editing, meaning it doesn't have a dedicated graphics card. What we mean by graphics card is something that will handle the video encoding, which is basically what it will do. What you want to look at is something free, ideally, because if you've got an older system, maybe you're not thinking about upgrading your computer, so you want something really low in budget. So the option there would be something like StreamYards. So a free StreamYard plan. StreamYard, let me explain about StreamYard. StreamYard is a web-based streaming service. So it's basically a website. You go to the website, you log on, you create a code, it gives you a link, then you can use your computer to live stream, but your computer doesn't do any of the hard encoding. So it's not encoding the video, it's all done on the StreamYard's servers. So that means if you have an older computer, you can still cope with that. On the free plan, there's a few limitations because you have StreamYard branding. So it's going to have a logo of saying this is being done by StreamYard. There's streaming limits. It's like something like 20 hours a month or something, I think. I'll show you a print screen of that so you can see it on the free plan. So if you're not streaming for ages and you've got 20 hours a month, if that's enough, you can only have 6 on-screen participants if you're doing a team session. So that's like a free plan. There's a few other options where you can pay for stuff and obviously it becomes better. So that's something to think about. So if you're a basic streaming person, you want to basically just stream something you're interested in or you're doing, you can use that. And you can have an old computer on that, that's fine. What about if you're a medium tier person? Well, in that case, I would recommend some software. Again, it's going to be depending on what you're doing. If you're doing something like teaching or something creative, you might want something like this setup, or even like a top-down shot to show what you're doing if you're doing some type of crafting or whatever. So for that, I would recommend you use a different setup. Firstly, I would think about using OBS, Open Broadcast Software. That allows you to set up what I've got here. You can even have an automatic timer that switches through different scenes so you can see how this is working. The thing with that is you will need to have an intensive computer. So your computer needs to be better because it's going to be encoding the video that you're recording, as in this is being encoded. I'm recording it directly onto my hard drive. However, I could live stream this. I'll give you a tutorial about OBS and how I set it up and how I use it and the pros and cons of that. Why I would recommend it, why I wouldn't. If you have a good computer, when I say good, I'm talking about the last 2-3 years and you've got a decent 2 or 4 gigabyte graphics card, that's something to look at. If you've got a laptop and it's not too good for graphics, then what you can do is what I suggested in the basic plan, a StreamYard membership, and you basically pay, I think it's like £20 or $20 a month. And if you're serious about your hobby, then you can use that as an investment into your content creation. It gives you a lot more on-screen participants. You can have different people joining you. You can have overlays. You can have like little fancy artwork and things. You can have multi-streaming to different platforms. So we talked about that in the platform section. You can stream to your YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook and LinkedIn, or wherever you like to stream. And that's something to think about. Would you prefer, if you're going to be doing a year plan, $20 a month isn't too bad if you're going to do it for a year. If you're doing it long term, maybe buy a graphics card for your computer. So that's an alternative. What about if you're an intense gamer? So you want to really get gaming streaming going. I did a free series about how to create artwork for your live stream, but I would recommend going down the OBS route because you can actually set it up on your computer. If you're a dedicated gamer, you're going to already have a really nice fancy machine, which will basically keep up with that. You can even set up a different machine to live stream on, so you can set up two machines, one to play the game on, one to live stream on. That's an overview. I know it's not a straightforward answer, but this determines what you end up live streaming. It's all about the content you're playing. So I've given you the three options there today. I'll link you to a few more videos as part of this series, and I'll show you some print screens of the software. I'll catch you on this video here now, which will talk about OBS and how you can use that.